Okay, folks, welcome back to another great episode of Opali Presents Know Your Pros. And today we have a wonderful guest. We have Eleanor Baker. She is local here to Ventura. She owns Elevated Nutrition and Wellness. She works one-on-one with her clients and integrates mindfulness practices with data from lab testing. And through that, she provides clients with a more holistic approach to their mental and physical performance. Again, we have Eleanor here with Elevated Nutrition and Wellness. Eleanor, thank you for being a guest today.
Yeah, such a pleasure to be here. Thank you guys for having me on and taking the time.
Well, of course. As a young professional, talking to another young professional, I think that allowing for you to tell your story is a really important aspect to any business. And I love what you do. I mean, you've gone from sort of small time to big time. You work with all sorts of different types of clients, from high school students getting ready for college to recreational athletes, all the way up to the professional level. And I know that didn't take, just a thought in the night. I mean, it took a lot of hard work and effort. So tell us that story. Why did you end up getting into business for yourself?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a story, but I started off competing in athletics in college. I ran Division I cross country and track. And during that time, sports nutrition wasn't really a thing. And it was still a very much a growing field. And I think as an athlete, really trying to ride a fine line and push ourselves, and myself in particular, to be able to perform at my best, I was trying a lot of different things and, having some success, not having some success. And I also saw my teammates really working through that. Oftentimes that does present itself in disordered eating as people are trying to figure out, like, what am I actually supposed to eat to be light and lean and still perform at a high level? And I remember we had a dietitian come in, and she just really wasn't really well versed in sports dietetics, and I could tell she didn't have a background in elite athletics. So it was very frustrating for someone who is trying to excel to not have that resource, and when the resources are presented, it's just okay. And so from that, I really wanted to be able to branch the science and be able to provide athletes with real life practices that they can easily implement into their lives. So after that, I went to complete my master's degree in nutrition and dietetics, and was also working in the hospital doing rotations to become a registered dietitian, and honestly became very frustrated with our healthcare system.
Yeah.
Because I would go in, talk to somebody for 15 minutes, hand them some pamphlets and say, good luck, I hope I don't see you again, for something that's a completely preventable disease through diet and lifestyle. And, they'd be back the next month for the same exact thing. So to me, that was a very broken system. And once I graduated college, I was really driven to provide people with a more preventative and a holistic approach to their healthcare as well as their performance, as opposed to just doing macro counting and taking supplements. Like, there is so much more to sports performance than just one side of that nutrition spectrum. So being able to help athletes tap into their own physical and mental well-being, and learn to utilize nutrition more as medicine as they're learning to accelerate their athletic performance, but also take in some testing and be able to give them some hard data to work with that goes hand in hand with the more mindfulness practices that we're implementing, so that they can have a greater understanding behind the why for the interventions that we're doing.
The why is really important, and the why is why we do this show. We want business owners to tell their why. And I think that it's really important to have that data and that strategy, which is something that you emphasized when we first started talking here this morning. And not only that, but having somebody like you who comes from an athletic background. I mean, you're not just, a nutrition and wellness coach, mentor, expert. You are an athlete yourself. So, in this industry, that's really important. And I would want something like that if I was going to work with somebody like you. So tell us a little bit about like why you got into that industry. I mean, you come from a very athletic background, right?
Yeah. I've always grown up in athletics and saw a significant improvement in my ability to recover and get stronger just by focusing on my nutrition. In fact, I was, able to recover 24, 48 hours faster than my peers while I was competing in college, and at one point was the only person from our team competing at Division I regional level. So was definitely putting that into practice and being able to utilize that more effectively.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And when you get good at it, I mean, you want to tell other people how to be better too, which is really neat. And, you know, hearing about, all that your business offers, what your services are, I find it very unique. And that's what I want to have you tell our viewers right now. Like, why is it that somebody should be calling Elevated Nutrition and Wellness? What is it that Eleanor brings to the table that others just don't, or maybe something that makes you unique there?
Yeah, like I said, I think that having a real world background in athletics, I'm definitely somebody who practices what I preach,
Yeah.
and try to bring that to the table for individuals. But I also do a lot of research outside of that. So I recently completed degree with the International Olympic Committee in sports nutrition and dietetics. I'm actively, on the books to sit for a certified specialist in sports dietetics. So, I think that what I've seen a lot in the field is that you have a nutritionist who has maybe 300 hours worth of education, and they could be a really good athlete or they could be a recreational athlete, but it's hard to find somebody who has a high caliber background of athletics and really deep in the research and be able to marry the two and provide really fine-tuned approaches that are realistic for the athletes. For example, I had a vegan athlete come in and has been working with me for a while, and she most recently completed a 400-mile race over 3 days. So
Wow.
being able to create fueling strategies so that she can cycle comfortably and be able to complete that race where 70 people were signed up and only 29 finish a race like that is I feel like having that education, having that experience, and being able to help athletes really push through different times that can be challenging is important, so that they can push their own boundaries.
Yeah. Well, if I had a nutritionist, I would want somebody who I know is backcountry skiing on the weekends and
Yeah.
going crazy up in Mammoth, which I know you were just doing. So, before we wrap this up, Eleanor, I want you to be able to tell your viewers where it is that they can find you. How can they get in touch with Eleanor Baker?
Yeah, so you can check me out at elevatednutritionandwellness.com or on Instagram at elevated.nutrition. I'm always posting up some educational stuff, and hopefully you guys get inspired by crazy things I do and share about my clients. So yeah.
Amazing. And, folks, if you're curious, we're going to put everything about Eleanor in the description of this video. So if you want to check her out on any of those channels she's just mentioned, click those links, give her a follow. I think what she's doing is fantastic. And she services clients all over the country. So once again, here we've had Eleanor Baker of Elevated Nutrition and Wellness. Thank you, Eleanor, so much for being a guest today on Know Your Pros.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.